Hi Andy, trust you well. Just a quick video message, reference the question that you emailed me. I agree totally with what the guy's saying about the aspects of the takeaway and the arm swinging, rotating, wrist flexing, etc. I haven't got an issue with that. I think, reading between the lines on the messages you're sending me, that you're obviously doing a lot of studying of the golf swing. I think the thing you've got to accept is that there are no definites, there are no cast in stone things that you must do. There are things that you need to do, and these things are appropriate to your golf swing, and if you want to improve, then you need to have, sorry about that, just someone trying to exit the clubhouse, you need to have these things in place. And I think above anything, it's a better understanding of cause and effect, really. And so what I've done is I've got 3 guys up here for you who all swing the club nicely, all do it different to one another. They all rotate the arms, flex the wrists, etc. So you've got Charlie Wee, Ricky Fowler and JJ Henry. And what I'd do first of all is I'd stop them at P2 when the shaft's parallel with the ground, and have a little look what's happening there. You can see there are 3 very different looking P2s. Here we've got Charlie Wee, which is more our model, where the toe end of the club is neither pointing to the sky or out in front of them too much. It's pretty much the angle of the leading edge of the club is very similar here to the angle of the spine, the arms, the club, the shoulders tracing concentric circles. So accumulator 3 has loaded nicely here. There's some old footage of Charlie in a pale blue shirt that is much more exaggerated than that. This is at the 2012, I believe, US Open, and things have started to soften up as he no longer needs to emphasise certain moves. We've got Ricky Fowler here making his pretty stock takeaway with the club face, toes down a little bit more than most people. Very, very little. There's almost like a reverse loading of accumulator 3 at that point. So as we discussed in various emails, etc., back of the left hand facing the ball or pointing down at P2. With Charlie, we've got more here of an incremental loading, somewhere in between, sort of out in front and down to the ground. So a little bit of loading of 3 and some setting of the wrists as well to offset that. And then what we've got with JJ is the toe end of the club pointing more skywards, back of the left hand pointing more out in front. So a little bit more of a rolling or loading of accumulator 3 by the time we get to P2. And that has, if we just run this through now and get the guys at sort of P2.7, say, let's have a look at the old look here. Yeah, just take that down. There you go. In fact, let's go to P3. We're going to see a sort of knock-on effect of what has gone on before, and we've tried to relate everything that we've been doing to what accumulator 3 is doing, because I know from my own experience, if you load accumulator 3, the act of loading accumulator 3 a certain way will produce a certain result in regards to the body. So what we see here is the guy who's loaded accumulator 3 the most has got the most level, if you will, shoulders when viewed from down the line. And the guy who's loaded accumulator 3 the least, from P1 to P2, has got the left shoulder working down more, and therefore that steeper tilt that you're looking for in your shoulders. And we related that in your last lesson. What we're also seeing is the guy who's rolled accumulator 3 more has got less hip turn, less flex in the lead knee, and less straightening of the right knee. And then over here we're seeing with Charlie and Ricky a little bit more hip turn with Ricky Fowler, and certainly a little bit more flexing of that lead leg. You can see there a little bit of daylight between the knees, whereas with Charlie we can't. So the handle's coming in more, the arms are tracing more of an inward path as the shoulders turn on a tilted angle, whereas with JJ is the other example of the hands not working in quite as much. So your last email talked about the tilts in the shoulders and what's going on. Now what I would say is you could get accumulator 3 loading less, the shoulders tilting more, and still have the club looking a little bit more neutral, which is what you saw with Mike. One of the reasons for that is there's an earlier setting of the wrist. Now, whilst that's valid and that's actually happening, I don't think it's necessarily appropriate for you. At the moment, looking at the swings that I'm seeing, we need to control what accumulator 3 is doing. If you do it to the extreme that we see here with Creigh Follow, I can guarantee you that that club will not roll behind you from P1 to P2, and at the moment you're going to have to feel like Creigh Follow looks. And like I say, if you dig out that footage of Charlie Wee from about 2009 in a pale blue shirt, you will see a marked difference between him at P2 and beyond. At P2 in that footage, there's far less rotating at the back of the left hand. The club is much more out in front of the hands, the club face more shut, the shoulders turning on more of a tilted angle, and the knees flexing more. So what's happened there is he's got it in there, he's really emphasised it, and now a couple of years down the line things are becoming more familiar. We're seeing a much more gradual setting of things on the way back and loading of the accumulators, if you will, on the way back, as opposed to that very late loading of the accumulators like we see a little bit more here with Creigh Follow. You can see there, no rotation at the back of the left hand from P1 to sort of P2, and then loads it in there probably about as much as he can. So you've got to try and encourage a little bit more of this move we're seeing here in the middle. And for you and your tendencies, forget this move over here on the right where it's an incremental setting, if you will, and there's a little bit of an excessive loading of 3. So to arrive with the action that we're seeing here with Charlie, we're going to have to introduce a little bit of Creigh Follow on the way back. So like I say, it's cause and effect. If accumulator 3 loads a certain way, the body can start to take a little bit of a different look when viewed on video. I guarantee you, if you can arrive in with that feeling and you can start to get the takeaway working as we see with Charlie here, certainly Charlie in the blue shirt, the pale blue shirt, is priceless. If I do find it, I'll email that straight across to you. I was doing a little bit of searching yesterday, but I'm a bit stuck for time at the minute. So if you can dig it out, if you're in doubt, email me the link and I'll confirm whether it's the one I'm talking about. But it's a much more of a Creigh Follow move than what we're seeing here with Charlie at present, as he's got used to things within the pattern and he's starting to make them a little bit more subtle. Hope that helps. Like I said, remember, no definites. Think about cause and effect. If we want the shoulders to tilt more, we need the accumulator 3 to be controlled better, and that in turn will bring the hands and arms in a little bit more and get the body functioning a little bit more simply during your golf swing. Hope it helps, and look forward to progressing in the months to come.